Engage Zone Control is a retrofit section control system for your John Deere 1910 air cart. The system communicates with your air seeder's existing GPS mapping system to prevent overlap by opening and closing up to 8 sections per bin, controlling all the bins on your air cart. In this video, we will walk through the initial configuration and setup of the Engage Zone Control app on the John Deere 2630 monitor. The steps outlined in this video must take place only after installation of the Engage Zone Control system is complete. Before proceeding, it is critical you have the latest software installed on your 2630, 1910 air cart and blockage detection system. You must have the section control activation unlocked on your John Deere 2630 in order for Engage Zone Control to work. If you do not have this activation unlocked, you must contact your John Deere dealer. Before you can configure the Engage Zone Control app on the 2630, we must first load the proper firmware on the gateway. This will be done using Intelligent Ag's free Recon Wireless Blockage and Flow Monitor app. This app contains the proper firmware for the Engage Zone Control system. First, you will need an iPad. While still connected to live internet or a cellular connection, access the App Store on the iPad. Search for Intelligent Ag in the App Store. Download the free Recon Wireless Blockage and Flow Monitor app from the App Store. Do not open the app at this point. Press the Home button on the iPad and return to the home screen. Turn the tractor key to the On position. Once the LED on the gateway is green, the gateway will be transmitting the Wi-Fi signal called IAS blockage. You will connect to this network with an iPad in order to load Engage Zone Control firmware onto the gateway. Locate and open the Settings app on the iPad home screen. Tap the Wi-Fi option from the menu. On the right, select the Wi-Fi network called IAS blockage. Once the blue check mark appears to the left of the IAS blockage network, you can tap the Home button. Your iPad is now connected to the gateway on the Engage Zone Control system. Locate and open the Recon Wireless Blockage and Flow Monitor app. When first opening the app, you will see a prompt saying Update Required. Press OK to start the update. The screen will then indicate that it is updating firmware, with a warning saying Do not power off. Once the firmware is updated, it will begin rebooting Gateway. Once the reboot is finished, the LED on the gateway will return to being green. Now the firmware is up to date, and the configuration of the 2630 may begin. Cycle the power off and back on using the tractor key. Once the 2630 has finished loading, tap the Menu button in the bottom right of the screen. Tap the Intelligent Ag app from the menu. Tap the Config button on the right side of the screen. Tap the Settings button. At the bottom of the settings screen, ensure that Engage Zone Control is enabled. Tap the Config button. You will see a message on the screen that says, "The IAS gateway is now rebooting. Please stand by." This is normal and will clear. You will get a communication error from the 2630. This is normal due to the gateway rebooting. Select Accept. You will be prompted with another communication error. Select Accept again. At this point, you may or may not see an updating motor controllers screen, depending on how fast your motor controllers update. This is normal and will clear when finished. You will then get a warning saying, "There are motor controllers that haven't been mapped to a location." Tap Dismiss. We will map the controllers in this video. After enabling zone control in the settings, the top 3 buttons are only used for the Recon Wireless Blockage and Flow Monitor, except for the Units button in the Settings menu. The bottom 2 buttons are for the Engage Zone control system. Tap the Section Control Configure button. In the Number of Bins box, select the number of bins on your air cart that have zone control installed. Configure section ordering in the application based on the section ordering on your toolbar. Numbers 1 through 8 in the application correspond with the gate on the Engage Zone control unit. Not all primary lines are connected to the manifold in sequential order. Make sure that your primary lines correspond with these gate assignments. If they don't, reorder the primaries to match these gate assignments. Example 1. If your air seeder has 8 sections, configure your section ordering as shown on screen. Example 2. If your air seeder has 6 sections, select Off for the 2 gate positions you are not using. A 6-section air seeder doesn't use sections 7 and 8. In the example on screen, gates 4 and 5 are off. Example 3. If your air seeder has 2 rows of 4 manifolds, 2 gates mapped to 1 section, manifolds 1 through 4 in the front correspond with gates 1 through 4 of the unit. Manifolds 1 through 4 in the back correspond with gates 5 through 8 of the unit. Configure your section ordering as shown on screen. For the section width, calculate each section width by multiplying the runs per section by the row spacing. And enter the values into the proper field. For the time of flight's compensation, please refer to the How to Establish Your Time of Flight video for instruction. Note: time of flights cannot be calculated until initial configuration is complete. You will need to navigate back to this screen in order to enter the values after completing the time of flight calculations. Make sure that the implement type selected is 1. Tap Save. Input the serial number for gates 1 through 4 and 5 through 8. A. Remove the cover from the Engage Zone control unit and find the serial numbers on the 2 motor controllers inside each bin unit. Gates 1 through 4 correspond with the serial number on the leftmost motor controller, and gates 5 through 8 correspond with the rightmost motor controller. B. Input the serial number for gates 1 through 4 and 5 through 8 of each bin. Bin 1 is the bin closest to the tractor. Bins 2 and 3, if applicable, are further away from the tractor. Note: on all bins, gates 1 through 4, you will only see the left motor controller serial numbers. Additionally, on all bins, gates 5 through 8, you will only see the right motor controller serial numbers. Tap Save. You will see an info screen asking for a reposition. Tap Reposition in the top right of the screen. Tap the Gates button on the right of the screen. The work switch status is shown in the top left corner of the Intelligent Ag Gates screen. When the implement is raised, the work switch icon should appear gray. When the implement is lowered, the work switch icon should appear green. If you need to invert the work switch, follow these steps. Tap Config on the right of the screen. Tap Settings. Uncheck the Engage Zone Control Enabled box at the bottom of the page. Tap Config on the right navigation. The gateway will reboot. You will see a communication error. This is normal. Tap Accept. Tap Config on the right navigation. Tap Configure, then tap Next. Change the status of the box below Is the work switch reversed? If the box is checked, uncheck it. If the box is unchecked, check it. Tap Next, then tap Save. Tap Config on the right navigation. Tap Settings. Recheck the Engage Zone Control Enabled box at the bottom of the page. Tap Config on the right navigation. The gateway will reboot. You will be prompted to reposition the gates. Tap Reposition in the top right of the screen. If your reposition fails and you do not have the tractor running, start the tractor and try the reposition again. Then, continue with the configuration. Navigate back to the Intelligent Ag Gates screen and verify that the work switch status is correct. To manually open or close a section, tap on the section you wish to manually control. A green section means that the section is open or seeding. A white section means that the section is closed or not seeding. A red section means that there is an error associated with one of the gates in that section. Errors are caused by two things. First, a gate that did not travel as expected, or a repositioning is needed. If you navigate through the Section Control Configure pages and tap Save, all the sections on the gate screen will be red. This is because the app does not know if you made any critical changes in the configuration and requires the user to perform a reposition. The user can perform a reposition from the Diagnostics page. Navigate to the Diagnostics page by tapping the Config button on the right of the screen. Tap Diagnostics. Tap Reposition All Gates. In the bottom right and left of the screen, there are two arrows. These arrows change the selected gate that will be controlled from the Diagnostics page. As you tap the right and left arrows, you will see a gate number at the top of the screen change. From this screen, you can command a specific gate, a specific bin, or all gates. You can reposition a specific gate or all gates. If for some reason you would like to disable a gate, select the gate you want to disable using the arrows at the bottom of the screen. Open the gate and then tap the Disable Gate button. Disabling a gate will prevent that gate from receiving all commands, manual as well as automatic. Intelligent Ag recommends disabling all the gates in a bin unit when not using the bin to prevent component wear on mechanical parts. Tap Gates on the right side of the screen. The Zone Control Enabled checkbox on the gate screen must be checked at all times, even if you want to turn off automatic section control. If you want to turn off section control for a specific area of your field, you will do that from the John Deere side of the VT. We will discuss this later in this video. The Acre Counter at the bottom of the gate screen shows you the total number of acres you have covered with the drill. This is shown in the Covered Area line. It also shows you the total area you have covered with at least one gate closed. This is shown in the Saved Area line. If you take this saved area and multiply it by your input costs, this will tell you how much the Engage Zone Control system has saved you per acre. Tap the Menu button in the lower right corner of the screen. Tap GS3. If you get an Implement Recording Not Allowed message, tap Accept. This is because the documentation has not been set up yet. From the list of checkboxes, check the Section Control checkbox. The VT will ask you if you want to include documentation. Tap Yes. Tap Accept at the bottom of the screen. Ensure that a value is selected for all items with a red asterisk. If the boxes are grayed out and uneditable, navigate to the Gate screen in the Intelligent Ag app. Uncheck the Zone Control Enabled box. This will disable the zone control system and allow you to edit fields during the setup of your VT. Navigate back to the GS3 screen. Remember to re-enable this when your VT setup is complete. If you do not have this enabled, Engage Zone Control will not respond to gate commands. Tap the next arrow button on the right side of the screen. Ensure that a value is selected for all items with a red asterisk. Tap the next arrow button on the right side of the screen. Ensure that a value is selected for all items with a red asterisk. Tap the next arrow button on the right side of the screen. Ensure that there is a check mark in all operations under the Section Control column on the left of the screen. Tap Overlap Settings. Change all of the drop-down boxes to % Overlap and insert a value of 102%. Tap Accept. Tap the next arrow button on the right side of the screen. Ensure that a value is selected for all items with a red asterisk. Tap the next arrow button on the right side of the screen. Ensure that a value is selected for all items with a red asterisk. Tap the next arrow button on the right side of the screen. The VT will tell you that setup is complete. Tap Accept. Tap Document on the right side of the screen. At the top of the screen, you will see a Documentation tab for each of the field operations that you will be recording. You should have a tab for each of the tanks on your air cart, as well as a tab for the Engage Zone Control system. For example, if you have a 2-tank air cart and Engage Zone Control, you should see 3 tabs at the top of the screen. The tab for the Engage Zone Control system can be easily identified by its arbitrary rate of 0.9 pounds per acre in the bottom left of the page. This rate should be grayed out and uneditable when it is being pulled in from the gateway on the zone control system. If you do not have the proper amount of tabs at the top of the screen, or do not see the 0.9 pounds per acre, tap the New tab at the top of the screen. Select Product Application. If the 0.9 pounds per acre still does not show up, you will need to do a key cycle in order for the Document tab to pull in the Engage Zone Control system. Once you have the Documentation tab with the 0.9 pounds per acre in the bottom left of the page, tap Add Product. It is critical to have a Documentation tab assigned with the 0.9 pounds per acre. Engage Zone Control requires its own Documentation tab in order to function properly. From the Product Type drop-down box, select Manure. We recommend selecting this option because you will most likely never put down manure with an air drill. However, you can select whatever product type you would like. From the Product Name drop-down box, select New. Using the on-screen keyboard, type Section Control and select Accept in the lower right of the screen. Tap Accept. Tap Section on the right side of the screen. If you do not see this option on your VT, you will need to contact your John Deere dealer and purchase the Section Control activation for your 2630. Tap Settings at the top of the screen. Tap Turn On/Off Settings. This is the screen where you will go to increase or decrease your overlap of product. This is sometimes referred to as look-ahead times. Once you have completed your time of flight calibrations, you will enter the proper values into this page. A good starting point for the on-off times is enter the longest time of flight value in the on column for every operation, and enter the shortest time of flight value in the off column for every operation. It is important to have all of the on times for every operation the same value, and all of the off times for every operation the same value. If you have different on times for different operations, you could end up with a gate that is open but a meter that is not turning to apply product, rendering the zone control system ineffective. For the time of flight's compensation, please refer to the How to Establish Your Time of Flight video for instruction. That video will help show you how to refine your on-off times as well. Intelligent Ag does not assume responsibility for incorrectly configured time of flights or on-off times. This is the responsibility of the operator. Once you have entered all of the values, tap Accept. Tap View by Operation at the top of the screen. Tap the Section Control button just above the map. This will enable the map to display and paint coverage relating to the Engage Zone Control system. This map will paint sections when they are on and stop painting sections when they are turned off. The small blocks at the bottom of this page are indicators of section status. They will be solid green when on and lightly shaded when off. The Section Control Master on the left of the screen is used for temporarily disabling the zone control system from receiving commands from the VT. This feature is useful for headlands, low spots, going around obstacles, or whenever you don't want sections being commanded automatically. Gates will remain in whatever state they are in at the time of unchecking this box. Make sure that your gates are open before unchecking the Section Control Master. To set up an all-inclusive homepage where you can view auto steer, coverage mapping with section control, and the air cart, tap Menu in the bottom right of the screen. Tap Layout Manager on the right of the screen. From the drop-down box, select a homepage that has not been set up or one that you will not be using. Tap the option on the right labeled G. Tap the red portion of the layout selector. Tap GS3. Tap the right arrow until you see the page titled Section Control and Map. Tap the image of the map to accept it. Tap the green portion of the layout selector. Tap Air Cart. Tap the image on the air cart screen to select it. Tap the blue portion of the layout selector. Tap GS3. Tap the right arrow until you see the page titled Guidance and Map. Tap the image to accept it. At the top of the screen, make sure the box titled Include in Homepage Collection is checked. Tap Accept at the bottom of the page. Now your new homepage is configured. You can tap the Home button to cycle through the homepage collection. Please refer to our related videos on how to calculate your time of flights and adjust your on-off settings, as well as how to properly maintain your Engage Zone Control system.